The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
I am so excited to be here tonight. I want to welcome you all to our Habits of Health webinar. And I get so tickled, inspired, a little crazy, almost as crazy as my hair, when I get the opportunity to talk to people. And so I'm going to pretend that I can see you all out there because I love facial expressions. And one way that I can really interact with you is for you to interact with me in the chat. So as I'm sharing information tonight about how to work smart and not so hard, I hope that you will understand a little bit more about how to move forward in your own health journey and also be able to come up with some questions around what it is that's going on for you, and a question that you might have could definitely impact somebody else. So we're gonna get started. So my name is Nicole DeWard. I am a certified personal trainer with the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I'm also a corrective exercise specialist and a behavioral specialist, but most importantly, I'm a certified Optavia coach. And I think that more than anything, I remember a few years ago, I was introducing myself and it was a shift. And I started introducing myself first as a certified Optavia coach. And I wondered at what point I would, it felt different to me. It felt different to introduce myself as an Optavia coach versus first being a personal trainer. I thought tonight I might introduce myself as a trainer first because that's what we're talking about tonight. And I hope to really inspire you and enlighten you and really help move you forward in this journey. And back a little bit about me. I have 4 children that are 12, 14, 16, and 18. I became a personal trainer. It'll be 10 years ago in January. And in February, I will have been a coach with Optavia for 7 years. And it has been a wild ride. It has been everything I ever dreamed and never knew I always wanted. It's been a crazy, transformative process, not just for my clients, but for me. The ways that I have changed in my own health and in my own journey, more so how I show up in the world, kind of that personal development stuff, has just made such a huge difference for me. So I want to talk tonight.
Hey, Nicole,
Yes.
It's Angie. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you pause your screen share and start it again? For some reason, your sound is great, but for some reason, we're just seeing black instead of seeing your slides.
Okay. Pause. It says screen sharing paused, stop screen share. I don't know why it's saying that.
There we go. We see it now. Perfect. Thank you.
Just one more thing to keep me humble, right? Technology, it eludes me, but here we go. At least I didn't get to any important slide yet, just my name. So thank you all for being patient, and sometimes we just have to roll with it, whatever happens. And so we're gonna make sure right now, I gotta make sure I say that whatever I say tonight is definitely from my own experience and what I know as a personal trainer and coach. But I also want you to make sure that you check with your healthcare provider before starting any kind of program. I'm going to make some recommendations tonight based from the Habits of Health and from my experience as a trainer over the last 10 years. And I definitely want to make sure that because our program is individualized, that you make this an individualized program by making sure with your healthcare provider that you're okay to go ahead and move forward. So we're going to jump right in. I've got lots of really great information for you tonight. And we're going to talk about phases. We're going to talk about how we go from this idea of wanting to lose weight. I know a lot of you on the line are clients with our Optavia program. And we have this kind of issue with our bodies where we start to take in a lot more energy than we expend. Some statistics I just read said that less than 5% of Americans get the adequate daily exercise needed. And that's that blows my mind, but it makes so much sense why we have such a problem in America with obesity and being overweight. And so what we want to do is figure out how we can marry this idea of adequate nutrition with adequate exercise. And so we are going to focus tonight on exercise, but that's not to say that nutrition isn't 100% responsible for your results. I know at the bottom of this slide you see it says results come from 80% nutrition and 20% exercise, but in reality, 100% is nutrition, because if we don't feed our body appropriately, we will never see the results that we are looking for. So we're going to go through tonight talking about 3 different phases, going from weight loss to transition into optimization. So if you are wanting to lose 1 to 100 plus pounds, we want to understand that there's an appropriate amount of exercise. I've heard it. I remember a few years ago, I had a potential client come to see me at my wellness center, and she sat down, said that she wanted to lose 50 pounds and that she was ready to commit to personal training for 3 days a week. And so I began to talk to her about what kinds of food she was eating. And she said that her life was super busy and that she ate mostly Pop-Tarts and those TV dinners, or the ones that you pop in the microwave. And so when I began to discuss with her the needs that she would be able, or what she would need to do in order to change her diet if she wanted to use whole foods, she said that was way too much work for her. And so she was so ecstatic to find out about our Optavia 5-in-1 plan. And she ended up never coming in for personal training. She did live a good bit away, so it would have been a huge trek for her. But I was so excited to have this goal or this plan that I could give her, and then she was implementing exercise all on her own. So I want to make sure you know, if you're on the 5-in-1 plan, if you're not currently exercising, don't be one of those nutso people that say, tomorrow or Monday, I'm going to start training, I'm going to start working out 7 days a week. Those things called HIIT that I hear about, those, where you like want to throw up, you're working out so hard, and then I'm going to eat perfect tomorrow or Monday. That's just too much too soon. It really overwhelms the body. So we want to make sure that we have a systematic process, this comprehensive approach. And so if you're not currently exercising and you're starting our 5-in-1 plan, we advise that you wait about 2 to 3 weeks to begin. The reason why is because we want our bodies to really adapt to the change. It can be a lot for the body to take in, so we want to go ahead and wait. If you are currently exercising, just adjust your intensity a little bit for the first 2 weeks, and then you're going to build that over time. What we're looking for is light to moderate physical activity up to 45 minutes a day. You don't really want to be huffing and puffing or sweating. And this is going to be some different information for those of you who are in more of what we would call the sports nutrition phase. You need to talk to a personal trainer that you are directly working with that has experience on our program. If this information is something that you want to discuss, besides that, you want to make sure you're following this program without the help of a health professional. Couple things that you can do for light to moderate activity. It's really the best way to do it. And most of you have Dr. A's Habits of Health. In the back of the book, there's a walking program, and it's a really great way to implement steady exercise into your life through walking. And it's something that you can do anywhere, anytime, just need a pair of shoes. And maybe if you live somewhere that's really rainy, maybe an umbrella. Otherwise, you'll be good. So the focus of our 5-in-1 plan is focusing on movement. That's what we're looking for, is get the body in motion. And when we do that, there's a world of change. I had one client that I've recently worked with that was really struggling getting her exercise in, but she got a stand-up desk. And I know many weeks ago we talked about NEAT, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And one of the things that we talked about was standing more often. And that's the only change she made. And she started making incredible changes in her body just from not sitting all day. And she can shift and she can move side to side and stand. And it makes such a difference because she's in motion. So I definitely recommend that you get into motion so your body can begin to stretch and to lengthen so that we're not in this stagnant place all day long. And always remember that we want to pair our nutrition on point with the exercise. They've got to coincide. So we're Gonna check this little picture out. I love it. I'm so out of shape. I'm gonna need an exercise program to get me into shape to start an exercise program. So if this is you, I'm sure we've all felt this way. I know that I have. I was mentioning to Angie earlier today that if I don't have my workout on my calendar for the day, it will not happen. And if my workout partner for some reason cannot meet, or if my schedule changes in any way, it's usually the first to go. And I think, gosh, if it's so easy for me to give this up or put something else in my calendar, I'm sure that it's tough for you. So my hope tonight is that you'll be inspired and you'll find something in this information that takes you just to that next step. We're not looking for you to go a mile. We're just looking for you to take that next step in your own exercise journey and learning how to work smart instead of so hard. So moving into phase 2, that transition process, that how we're going to go from that weight loss to transition. And I've been coaching, like I said, almost 7 years. And this is the part that is so difficult for people, because all of a sudden we're having you move a little bit more and you're eating a little bit more. And the eating a little bit more sounds like it'd be this really great idea. But most of the time, people resist this so much. They are so fearful around adding nutrition, just slowly and gradually adding it in. Our typical transition process lasts about 6 weeks. It is based individually. So definitely work with your Optavia coach on the best process for you. And as we begin to add more and more exercise, we're going to move into that optimization phase. So working out is really determined by an acronym called FIT: frequency, intensity, and time. So in terms of frequency, I'm often asked, how often do I really need to exercise during the week? Well, the guidelines are really that in order to not regain weight, it's 250 minutes of physical activity weekly. Okay, so that's in total. I don't recommend that you take all 250 minutes in one day. It's best to space that out a little bit and get a little bit each day. But, and also having 2 strength training workouts. And we'll go into a little bit more about what kind of strength training workouts you can do. If you have some questions about either phase 1 or as we move into phase 2, please pop those into the chat so I can address those. In terms of the information about 250 minutes, you can always go to answers.optavia.com and really get some other information from our company for specific questions. In terms of frequency, when asked, people who are really just looking to be heart healthy are looking to exercise at least 3 times a week. That's what it takes at minimum to have a healthy heart. 4 times a week, we're looking at maintaining. So in terms of the information I just gave you, it's about 62, 63 minutes of activity 4 times a week in order to maintain your weight. So yes, transitioning from the 5-in-1, transitioning into your own caloric program. So thank you for that question. Working out in phase 2, yes. And 5 times a week. This happens a lot. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but you've reached a healthy weight and you hold up your arm and you see this stuff hanging here and you're like, what can I do about this? Or why don't I see my muscles? Or all these questions. Maybe you want to see a line in your leg or your abdomen. And really that takes a reduction of body fat and building lean mass in really order to see change. That's going to take a little bit more exercise, a little bit more specified, right? 6 times a week if you're training for some sort of competition. I know that half marathons and sprint and all these things are really on the rise, which is super fun, but it's not it's not the best thing if you're trying to lose weight. It's best to do when you're moving towards transition and into optimization. So how much do we need to exercise if we're on the 5-in-1? It's suggested that you exercise on a low to moderate basis about 30 minutes daily. It's not necessary, but it's encouraged and suggested. Okay, I want to make sure that you don't feel like you have to This is not, remember, we don't should on ourselves, right? There's no shoulding going on here today. What we're trying to help you understand is that it is when you exercise 30 to 45 minutes and move your body, you've got to listen to your body and make sure that you're following what your body needs. Sometimes if you start to feel hungry or your body's not losing weight anymore, you could potentially be just changing your physiology a little bit. So you want to make sure that you're really listening to your body, focusing on the nutrition and moving your body. So in this transition process, as we begin to add in servings of additional food groups that we had taken out in 5 and 1, we're going to be increasing our exercise. We've talked about frequency. Now we're moving into intensity. A couple things that you can do is cardio strength intervals. This is how, instead of like getting on the treadmill for 30 minutes, right? You can do a squat bicep curl and be in movement where you're doing an upper body and lower body combination, and that's going to be called the cardio strength interval, or doing a push-up followed by jumping jacks. That would be another idea of cardio strength intervals. Resistance training, using bands, using weights, machines, all of these things are really going to be great to change up the intensity. Think about this. If you are on the 5 and 1 and you were balls to the wall, exercising hard and all out, when you begin to move through the process, where are you going to go from there? So I recommend when you're in 5 and 1, take it easy, move, but take it easy, so that as you begin, think about it this way. If all the focus is on 5 and 1, and then the focus on exercise is kind of here, it's still important, but it's not as important. And then as we begin to transition, the importance moves to the exercise, okay? Because the exercise is how we are going to maintain our weight when we're following what our body needs nutritionally. So a couple other things, you got to make sure that you rest and recover. It's just as important as exercise. And I know so many of you on the line and our clients are super busy, and time is always a factor. And so you definitely have to look at your schedule and make sure that you fit it in when you can, because I could give you the best plan in the world, but if it's something that you couldn't follow because of your schedule, then it's a terrible plan. So it's only good if you can follow it. Balance between the necessary components, which we're going to talk about on the next slide, and really do those combo workouts. 3 types of working out. You've got your cardio, your resistance, and your flexibility. Really implement these types in. You don't want to be a cardio junkie and do 6 days a week of exercise. I see a question here talking about, do I really need to wait that long? If you are already exercising when you begin the 5 and 1, you just want to reduce your intensity and listen to your body. You don't need to stop working out. If you have not started, we recommend that you don't begin until your body has adjusted to the change. In terms of resistance training, we talked about some machines and bands, but you guys, your body is one of the best ways to get resistance training through body weight strength. There's a ton of information on the internet about body weight strength, but one of the best ways that you can get some information is in the Habits of Health, page 339. You'll see Miss beautiful Lori Anderson and demoing so many wonderful exercises with resistance bands, the ball, balance work, stretching. So take a look at the back of the book, follow along, and you will see some great results, because results come from consistency over time equals results. All right, so what doesn't kill you definitely makes you stronger. I see a lot of very specific questions that I can't address all of them because they're really long to read. But one question here says, I work 4 days a week and I'm always on the move. As a personal trainer, I demo exercises all day long, and it is not considered exercise to the body. If you are on your feet all day, that is your work. That is what we would call activity calories. They are not called exercise calories. the energy that you expend from your job counts towards your energy output, of course, but in terms of your general activity, not from exercise. So I hope that helps. Let's move on into phase 3, because we want to talk about what's coming down the line, right? We want to move from weight loss to transition to optimizing into this idea of training, really accomplishing something that we really want to be. And the Optimal Health 3 in 3 plan, I'm even finding that there are people who are starting on this plan because they know what to be doing, but they're not doing it. So if we can take the guesswork out of maybe 3 of their meals and give them a healthy fueling and some guidance, you can go to our website where at this link and scroll down probably a good bit, and you'll see a calculator on there. And you'll enter your biometrics, and you'll be able to see, based on if you're sedentary or lightly active, how many calories that you're going to transition to. Definitely be working closely with your health coach, because you don't want to go from 5 and 1 all the way to 3,000 calorie diet. That is too big of a spread. We want to gradually increase calories, and it's typically about 100 calories at a time. We want our body to adjust. You want to take the time. You want to take the opportunity, right? You want to take the opportunity to see, when I eat grain, how do I feel? When I add fruit, when I have 1, I feel okay, but when I have 2, gosh, I want to eat a cake. Okay, maybe you're a little sensitive to fructose. So we can start to monitor how we feel by using this information. Guys, this is gold. The fact that we have this opportunity and all of the framework to get exactly what we're looking for, you can make the modifications necessary while you're doing this, linking arms with your health coach. You can always eat off plan. I get this, well, when can I have an off day? You can have an off day whenever you want, but it does modify, right, your results. Anytime you do something off plan, you're going to delay your results. You can, in optimization, do extra exercise in order to offset your extra calories. If you know that you have a holiday function coming up and you would like to indulge in some holiday yumminess, then you can offset that with additional exercise. Plan your workouts around scheduled events in your life. Make sure that you are still checking and monitoring your scale. Remember our BSLIM acronym around M being monitor your weight. Really live the Habits of Health. Every time you open the Habits of Health book and read for a little bit, keep it in the bathroom if you need to, because that's a habit of health. You want to make sure that you're getting just a little bit, because every time you read, you're going to hear something just a little bit differently, and it's going to move you forward, right? Optimal health is not about starting things on a Monday. That is the diet mentality, which is never going to move us forward. We want to see our 5 in 1 plan as a tool. It is not meant to take us back every time we're off. Now, there is a way to use it in order to cleanse your system and to get back on track. But if we feel like the body is always vacillating back and forth, our recommendation is to go to a 3 in 3 plan so that your body is preserving muscle mass. The 5 in 1 works. The 5 in 1 plus XYZ does not work, and it does attack your muscle mass. So I want to make sure you understand that, because we have sarcopenia, right? Our muscle mass degenerating as we age anyway, and we don't need anything else to help us in that regard. So let's make sure we are either staying on the 5 in 1 for fat loss, or we're going to a 3 in 3 plan so that we can really move forward and give our body what it needs. Remember, when you fluctuate in weight, 3 pounds is not exactly fat, right? 3 pounds is often water weight, where we're seeing some inflammation in the body. You'd have to consume in excess of over 10,000 calories to have an extra 3 pounds on the scale if it was actually fat. So make sure we keep our head in the right place. Keep our head in the game. Make sure we have something that we're moving forward towards, and focus on our habits of health. The way we do that is with SMART goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. These are important factors. I want to note this picture here. I love this. This is such a great visual for understanding that this is the same toy. Now, whether the toy is upside down or right side up, it's meant to be a car. It's meant to move forward, right? Moving us forward. But if we get stuck and our car gets flipped over, it becomes a rocking chair. It becomes this place of, I make a couple steps forward, a couple steps back, and we're always stuck. The thing about a rocking chair is it never moves. It stays in the same place. But I would encourage you, and I hope you're being inspired tonight, to get in the car and move forward and make progress, no matter what that looks like for you. It's a small step. Just one small step will keep you in the car and not in the rocking chair. Discover some of your strengths, some of your passions. Get involved in some of these ideas. You might be wanting to join a 5K or do a tennis team or adult swim team, any of these kinds of things. But what's important is have intentionality. You've got to be purposeful. You've got to live in such a way that other people are wanting to do things with you, because there's strength in numbers. Doing things by yourself is boring, and there's no one holding you accountable, right? So even if you decide that you want to get up at 5 a.m. and do 20 push-ups and 20 squats and 20 lunges and then go for a walk around your block, that's a great idea. Make sure you tell somebody that you plan to do that. 1, for safety, and 2, for accountability. Set up a challenge for yourself. Grab some friends, and it will really make a huge difference in how you move forward. A couple other tools I want to explain. One is the marble jar. If you're trying to set a goal, let's say you make a plan and you decide, no matter what that plan is, you want to follow this plan for 30 days, okay? You're going to take a marble jar full of 30 marbles and one jar that's empty. And for every day you're compliant, you're going to take a marble from the full jar and move it to the empty jar. And every day you're compliant to whatever you decided, because this is all about telling yourself yes and doing what you decided you were going to do. You're going to move a marble every time you're compliant. Every day you have compliance. And when you are not compliant, when you don't do what you said you were going to do, not only do you not get to move a marble, but you lose 3 marbles. This is especially true when you're on the 5-in-1 plan, because it takes 3 days to get back into fat burn. So understand that in order to keep moving the marbles over, it comes from compliance. And the compliance is to yourself for what you said you're going to do. And when we tell ourselves, we are the worst at failing ourselves. Typically, if we tell somebody else, we've got a much better chance. So I definitely encourage you to tell somebody else what your plan is. Remember, another tool we use is a rubber band. We talk about understanding our current reality and where we want to be. And as we stretch that rubber band, we can feel the tension on the band, and it helps to move us forward. So as we continue to reassess goals, we're going to always push those goals out further and further. And then we accomplish all of our goals along the way. So definitely give a voice to what you have in your life and what you want to see to move yourself forward. I'm so honored that you joined us for our call tonight. As you can tell, I am over the moon about exercise and nutrition, and I am even more honored about being an Optavia coach. This is one of the best things in my life, and it is my heart and my passion to absolutely share it with everyone that I know. And I hope that you will take this webinar tonight is recorded, and I so hope that you share it with your friends and family so they too can move forward and stop being stuck and in that rocking chair mentality and really move forward in their health. I want to end with a quote from Dr. A. He says, "Optimal health is a journey, taken one step, one habit, one day at a time." Thank you so much for joining us on our webinar tonight.
The following audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.